Fantastic home experts, and when you think of Bell and Howell, that's a company that you know and trust.
Absolutely.
How many years now have they been providing?
God, it's got to be 16 years. No, 152.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been around a long time.
Been around a long time.
160. I don't know.
Well, it's over 100 years.
It's longer than I'm old.
Yes, exactly. Longer than we've been on this earth.
Exactly.
You could say that, right? Well, we have 3 different lengths for you, and this is one of the heaviest, strongest, heavy-duty steel hoses that is lightweight, as incredible. We'll talk about all the great non-coiling, non-tangling, and all of that.
All the cool things.
All the cool things you're looking for. So we have this in 125 foot. We have this, let me start with the smallest of what we're offering. We have it in a 50 foot. Thanks, Lou.
You're welcome.
That's on a special spring break at price at $49.95. We have the 100 foot, and that's also on special at $20 savings at $69.95. And then we have the Mac Daddy at 125
feet.
Wow, and that's specially priced today as well at $79.95. That's a $20 savings.
Yeah.
And we have 3 flex payments available. But again, there's a lot of hoses out there. What makes this one so unique and so popular with us?
So I'm going to show you all right, first of all, Bell and Howell, we've sold hoses here before that had metal in them. They were metal hoses, okay? This one still has that metal inside of it, but on the outside now we've added a fabric layer. Now a lot of people have asked me, why in the world would you do that? Well, the fabric layer actually makes it have a less of a drag coefficient, so when you're dragging it around, but also if it rubs up against your outdoor furniture, if it goes against the side of your house, it's not going to scratch it. So that, for me, I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
The other thing I like about this is this giant handle that's right here, okay, that's on the end of this. This is actually molded to the metal, okay, so it's not going to unscrew like, I know in the past, I've seen other hoses where that happens, where you start twisting on it and it starts to unscrew. This is on here, but the reason this is such a godsend for somebody like me is, you know, if you don't have as much hand strength as you used to, if you're starting to get arthritis or anything like that, this just makes it easier to get a grip and to actually have a nice amount of torque to take something off. But the really big deal with this is you can't cut it, you can't crush it, and you can't kink it. And what I mean by that is, let's do the kinking first. If I take this and I go like that, I cannot stop the flow of water. But if I take a standard garden hose, and this is what probably everybody out there has, look at the way I can pinch that. And I'm squeezing this, okay? I cannot make this to a point where the water flow is gonna stop, but easy, easy, easy to do with a rubber hose. Now, the other thing I said is you can't cut it. Watch this, all right? I'm gonna take the rubber hose. I think we know what's gonna happen here, but if you got metal furniture outside or a fence like I do, and you know, I'm gonna use this saw just to demonstrate, but this is what happens over time to your rubber hose. You can see right there, it's got that nice cut in there, and that's ruined. So that means you're gonna end up having to buy another hose. But watch this. If I take that same saw and use it here on the hose you're buying right now on our HydroSteel, now I'm gonna just saw it right here. You can hear that it's hitting the metal, but I want you to see something. Can you even see the metal in there? No, you can't see it because this is a very, very tough fabric that's on the outside. So even though I kind of messed it up a little bit, it didn't have any effect on the metal that's inside of this. And that's the big deal with this. It's going to last a long time. And then for the crushing part, I'd have to drive my truck over it, but trust me, I've already done that. This is how it's made. And I want you to see there's that layer inside that's like a regular plastic hose. Then it has all the metal windings around it right there. And by the way, that's 304 stainless steel. And then it has that high durability fabric over that with that handle mounted on there. And the nice thing about this, Lynn, is that it's durable, it's lightweight. I'm going to show you that in a second. And it's very, very flexible. So you can use this really easily. So what I'm going to do now is I want you guys to take a look at what I've got going on here. I've got 2 scales side by side. And what's interesting about these scales I've got right here is that this is 100 feet of a rubber hose. This is 125 feet of a HydroSteel hose. So 100, 125. The difference in weight between these two, oddly enough, the 125 of the HydroSteel is 3 to 4 pounds lighter than just 100 feet of a rubber hose. That's a huge difference, especially since you've got 25 more feet of hose here. But the other thing to consider is when you finally put water inside of that hose, how much more is that going to weigh? It's going to be a lot heavier. So any little bit of weight that you could shave off, especially if you're getting a 125, that's going to make a huge difference. Okay, so that's another thing. Now, here's one of the things that I absolutely love about these two. This little bucket sitting right here in front of me, this has got 50 feet of hose in it, okay? How in the world could you get 50 feet of hose in a bucket? just like that. With the HydroSteel hose, you can actually wrap that whole thing inside of here. Why would you want to do that? You got a boat, you got an RV? Do you go camping? Do you live in an apartment and maybe you don't have any place where you can keep your hose, okay? If that's the case, then you need to get one of these. I would keep one in the back of my car. Back when I lived in an apartment, they had a nice place to wash your cars, but there was no way that I had anywhere to keep a hose, so I just didn't have a hose and never washed my car, okay? But because I could put it in a bucket now, that's absolutely something I would do.
And look at how easily it coils.
Yeah.
It coils up.
It's absolutely amazing. Well, and the other thing about these hoses, which is actually kind of amazing, is this right here. I'm going to show you. Let me get out here so you guys can see this. But take a look at what's going on here. So we've got this hose, and this has got, I don't know, like 4 or 5 different knots inside of it. And you can see the water's coming out, but that's as good as that's going to get. Now take a look right here at the HydroSteel hose, and you can see right there that water's coming out with full force. But if you look at how many knots are in that one versus how many are in this one, we got a lot more knots in the HydroSteel, and it is absolutely not stopping the flow of the water. So yeah, I can still wash my car, my boat, you know, water the plants with the HydroSteel hose. And by the way, you do get that nozzle. It's a 7-position nozzle as well. But when you look at this right here, that water is just drip, 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 drip. That's not going to wash anything. Okay, so that is not a great way. And that's one of the things about these hoses. The other thing I mentioned earlier is how you can stop the flow of water on this. If I just do that, all I did was just bend that in half, and I stopped the flow of water coming out of that guy right there just by bending it. But if I let go, water comes out again, okay? With the HydroSteel, I could have this on full blast, and I could bend this as much as I want to, and it's not stopping the flow of water. See, that's what makes this so good. That's why these are so great, because if you got 125 feet of hose out and you have a problem with the a kink in the hose somewhere, you got to backtrack that whole thing. You don't have to do that with HydroSteel, and that's one of the beautiful things about it. While I got your attention, though, yeah, let's take a look at this. All right, let's go back here real quick. All right, take a look at this right here. You can see that's what I was talking about. When you drag it around things, if you have the fabric on it, it's going to make it that much easier for you to drag that around. It's not going to get caught on things. And more importantly, if you drag it along the side of your house, you're not going to have any problems, Lynn, with that actually chipping the paint. I've actually had that happen to me when I had the regular steel hose. This one is so much more forgiving.
And Lou, the 125 foot, people like that when you say the whole house, right?
Whole
because
house.
You don't have to worry about, oh, I have to get an extension, or I have to go. This 125, that's going to clean all the screens around the back. That's long
I
ways.
mean, think about it this way. You can always, you know, choose not to use the entire 125 feet, but you can't take the 50 foot and turn it into 125.
True.
You see what I mean? So always buy the biggest one you can.
Yeah, and I'm going to just reiterate one more time the sizes, because I specifically say that up on the screen. Sorry, we had some microphone issues for a little bit.
You do your thing.
We have the 50 foot that is available today. That's at a $10 savings at $49.95. Also available with 3 flex payments. We have the 100 foot that is $20 savings, normally $89.95. It's $69.95. Also available with 3 flex payments. And then we said the big guy, 125 feet. That is also a $20 savings. It's normally $99.95, $79.95. Only scheduled airing for the day. And you know what? Spring. This is all about getting ready. Like, we have had garden shows, we've had incredible planners.
Get your outdoors
and gardens.
ready.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You want to make sure, think about the hose that you're using right now.
Well,
sometimes it takes us to like, oh, now it's kinked. I can't use it. I got to go buy a new one last minute.
Well, and I'll tell you, you'd be surprised how many people out there on their list of things to do to get ready for summer is buy a new hose. Just because, you know, in the wintertime, a rubber hose will freeze, okay? They get dirty, they get stiff, they you know, they don't want, they get memory. That's the other thing. Take a look at this right here. This is a prime example. This is 100 feet of a standard rubber hose, okay? It's filthy dirty, number one. It has a horrible memory. You can see right here the way it's sitting on that reel, and it's full. Like, that reel cannot hold anymore. This is 125 feet of the HydroSteel hose. Look at this. It's like on here, like it's like silk. It goes on there so easily. It works so well. And, you know, quite frankly, I probably got room on here for another 50 feet of hose, at least on that. But here's the part that blew my mind, okay? Inside of this flower pot right here, that's 125 feet of hose in that flower pot. No kidding. 125 feet. And I show this every time for the simple reason that I used to live in a condo with an HOA, a townhouse actually with an HOA, okay? And they were very adamant that you could not have a hose outside. You can't have a hose outside, you can't have a hose reel, you can't have anything to put your hose away. But if you can put it in a flower pot, that's okay. Because you're allowed to have flower pots outside. So that's why I like to show that, just to let people know, if you're like got your heart set on the 125, you're like, oh, I got nowhere to put it. You got a flower pot? Can you get a flower
Good
pot?
point.
You can put it in there.
Yeah, I think we even have a hose winder that is available on
do we?
hsn.com.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in fact, I think we have that actually, I mean, in the show, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's by Sunjo. Anyway, yes, check it out. If you're saying, ooh, I'd like to have something I can mount this on, we do have some different ones that are available for you on hsn.com. So just to reiterate in this final 2 minutes, we're $10 off our 50-foot, $20 off on
That's crazy.
100 and 125-foot. This has been #1 top seller, not only here for us, but in infomercial world. You've seen this. I mean, honestly, millions have been sold.
Well, let me ask you this question, okay? If anybody's ever had a plumbing problem at home with their washing machine, their dishwasher, anything like that, right? When the plumber comes, if you've had a hose that broke or burst, it leaked, right? What do? They replace it with a steel hose. They replace it with a hose that's got the windings on it. And by the way, I should mention, these are rated for 500 pounds per square inch of pressure, 500 PSI. So 500 PSI is almost 10 times what your house puts out. Most homes will put in 50 to 60 PSI. So at 500, there's absolutely no chance that your house is going to have more pressure, or anything you hook this up to for that matter, is going to have more pressure than the hose can handle. And then the last thing is, and we kind of really didn't talk about this, but I'm going to just mention it right now. Right here, you're getting 2 nozzles with this when you buy it right now, okay? This one's a fireman's nozzle, so you actually twist the end of this and it's a constant spray, but it is analog, meaning that it's infinitely adjustable. And then this